everybody, it's Kylie and welcome back to my channel. So for today I have a tutorial for y'all. I'm going to show y'all how to make these easy pot holders. This is an easy pattern that uses a fun stitch called the Bean Stitch. The Bean Stitch makes for a pretty thick and dense fabric, so it makes it perfect for holding hot pans or dishes or using these to protect your counters. They use very little cotton yarn, honestly, and they work up pretty fast, so they're a nice and quick crochet project. So I like using a multicolored yarn and then a couple of solid yarns to make them that coordinate and match. It makes for a really neat set, and I'm going to show you exactly what you need to make these and the yarn I use and everything. But before I jump into this tutorial and show y'all the supplies you need and how to make these pot holders, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and be sure to check out my other pattern tutorials and stitch tutorials here on YouTube. And we're going to jump right into this, and I'm going to show y'all the supplies that y'all need. So for this particular pattern, I am using Dishy worsted weight cotton yarn. This is a really good cotton yarn that I love that comes from OkieGirlBling'n'Things. I use this cotton yarn quite a bit. For one pot holder, it takes right over half of a skein of yarn. There's 190 yards in each skein, so it takes right over half, so it really doesn't take very much yarn to make these. So if you have some scrap cotton yarn laying around, that would probably work. The colors that I'm using here, or that I've used here to work these up in these greens, are going to be the names of these. These are all Dishy cotton, but there is jalapeno, honeydew, and sea turtle are the colors that I used for these greens. And the color that I'm fixing to make one in is this one, and it is called Colonial Rose. So that's the yarn that you'll need, and you'll also need a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook, and you'll also need like some scissors and a yarn needle, but other than that, that's all you'll need. And we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna show you how to make these Bean Stitch pot holders. Okay, so I have made a slip knot here and placed it on my crochet hook, and I will mention before I start this pattern for reference, if you're wondering how big each pot holder is, these pot holders here that I've worked up are approximately 8 1/4 inches wide, so they're a pretty decent sized pot holder, just so you know. So 8 1/4 inches wide. But to get started with this pattern, we are going to start with a chain of 29 stitches. So you're going to chain 29 stitches. Okay, after you've chained 29 stitches, you are going to half double crochet in the third chain from your hook. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to work a half double crochet in the third chain stitch from our hook. And then we're going to half double crochet in each stitch across. Okay, so there's what it'll look like after row 1. After row 1, you should have a total of 27 stitches. Okay, so going on to row 2, we are going to chain 2 stitches, turn our work, and we're going to half double crochet in this very first stitch. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch, and we will half double crochet in the first stitch. And then we're going to skip the next stitch and work a bean stitch in this next stitch. And to work a bean stitch, you will insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, you'll yarn over, insert into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up another loop. That'll be 4 loops on your hook. And then we're going to do that once more, yarn over, insert in that same stitch, yarn over, pull up another loop, 6 loops on your hook. You will then yarn over, pull through all 6 loops, and secure with a chain stitch. And that is how you do a bean stitch. And then we're going to continue that pattern on. We're going to skip the next stitch, work a bean stitch in the next. So again, to do a bean stitch, we will insert our hook into that stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert into that same stitch, yarn over and pull up another loop, 4 loops. And you'll do it once more, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. Then you'll have 6 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 6, and secure with a chain stitch. And that's how you do a bean stitch. And you'll just repeat that across until you reach the last 2 stitches. So we'll skip the next stitch, bean stitch in the next stitch. Okay, so I repeat that across until I reach my final 2 stitches. When you reach the last 2 stitches, you'll skip that next stitch and half double crochet in that very last stitch. And this is what it'll look like at the end of row 2. So you'll have 1 row of bean stitch. And from now on, row 3 and on will just be a single repeat row. So the rest of the pattern is very easy. So going on to row 3, we will chain 2, turn our work. We're going to half double crochet in this first stitch. And then we're going to work a bean stitch across in every triangle space next to the bean stitch. So if you'll look at your bean stitch here, so we half double crocheted in this stitch, and then if we'll look at this bean stitch, you'll see this like triangle space next to it, and that's where we'll work the bean stitch of this row. So you'll see each little triangle spot of the bean stitch, that's where your next bean stitch will go. So like right here, we have our half double crochet, and then we have this triangle space that we're going to work a bean stitch into. So we'll work a bean stitch like the previous row. And don't forget that chain to close it. And you'll just repeat across. So then we'll go find the next triangle space right there and work at the next bean stitch. That you can see right there what it looks like. And that's how easy row 3 is. You'll just keep repeating that across until you reach the very last stitch. So we'll find our next triangle stitch right there and work a bean stitch into it. And you just keep going. Okay, so once you repeat that all the way across, when you get to that last stitch, you're going to work a half double crochet in that very last stitch, and that will be the end of row 3. This is what it looked like after row 3. So you can see how it's starting to take shape. Going on, row 4 through 21 is just a repeat of row 3. So you're going to continue repeating row 3 until you have finished 21 rows. So I'll show you how to get started on row 4. It's going to be the same like row 3. You will chain 2, turn your work, half double crochet in that first stitch, work a bean stitch in each triangle space across. So you'll find that triangle space right there, work a bean stitch in it. Next triangle space, work a bean stitch. And you will just repeat that across until you reach your very last stitch and work a half double crochet in that very last stitch. And you will repeat that row 3 until you have finished 21 rows. After you've finished 21 rows, I will catch up with y'all and show y'all how I do the edging and make the little, show you how to do this edging, and I do this little hanging loop. The hanging loop is optional. You can leave it off if you don't want it, but if you do want it, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So I'll catch up with y'all after y'all finish row 21. Okay, so I just finished row 21, and this is what it looks like. We're now fixing to put our border around it and make our little hanging loop. So to do our border, to start it, we're just going to insert our hook back into our stitch, and we're going to chain 1, and we're going to simply evenly single crochet across the edge. So we'll evenly single crochet down each side, and we'll place 2 single crochets in each corner. But to start, I've chained 1, and then we're just going to evenly place these single crochet stitches. So here I'm going to go on the side of this half double crochet, and single crochet, and you just don't want to put them too far apart because it'll make it pucker in, and if you put them too close to each other, it'll make it bend out and make too many stitches. So you just want to kind of try to place them evenly down. So like there's one, and the next one will go here in these chain stitches, and then I'm just going to kind of pick spots, and you kind of do a few and then look and see if it looks like you have enough or too many, because you don't want too many or too few. Kind of evenly place them in different spots. There's really no set way that I put them anywhere. I just kind of pick here and there and evenly space them out. So you can do a few. I like to try to grab both sides of loops and stuff. And you can look and see like that looks like the perfect amount. So we're going to keep going. It looks like I'm doing just right. So we're just going to keep going all the way down to the end. Okay, so I went all the way down the one edge, single crocheted evenly across, and that's what it should look like. You shouldn't have too many or too few. So there's not too many where it's bending out, and there's not too few where it's puckering in. It's just a straight edge. So once you reach your corner, you're simply going to place 2 single crochet in the corner so it'll turn. We're going to find our corner there and place 2 single crochet in that same spot in that corner. So then it kind of brings us around here, and then we're going to evenly single crochet across this bottom edge. We'll place 2 single crochet in this corner, evenly single crochet across, 2 single crochet in this corner, evenly single crochet across, and when you reach this last corner, you will not single crochet into it, and I will meet up with y'all when y'all get here and show y'all how to do the little hanging loop. Okay, so once you've evenly single crocheted around the entire piece and placed 2 single crochet in each corner, this is what it should look like. Nice and even. And you reach that last corner, you will not single crochet into that very last corner, and we're not going to make our hanging loop. This is optional. You could just place 2 single crochet in that corner and then slip stitch to your very first single crochet and finish it off like that if you don't want the hanger, but I'm going to show you how to do the little hanging loop. So after you've reached back this corner, we're not going to single crochet in it, we're simply going to chain 15 stitches. And in the second chain stitch from our hook, we're going to single crochet into it. And then we're going to single crochet into each chain stitch down. This is what it'll look like. We're going to cut our yarn, leave a decent length of tail on it because we're going to use this tail to sew down our loop. So I'm going to put this, I am going to pull my yarn through there, and I'm going to put my tail of yarn on my yarn needle like so, and then we are going to take this loop. I'm going to stitch, because the tail is kind of hanging like this, I'm going to take my tail of yarn and I'm going to go back through here like so, just to kind of pull that to one side, so that it puts the one piece coming from like this side, so it's not like hanging out. And then we're just going to fold our loop like so over like to our first single crochet over here of the border. And you're just going to take your yarn, I'm going to kind of weave it in some stitches across, and then once you get over there, we're just going to sew it down. The back, down, and we're just going to go in and out of it a couple of times just to sew it down, making sure to go through both layers. like so, and then you have your little hanging loop. So you'll want to make sure you knot that yarn, weave the end in, and you can cut it, and there's your little hanging loop. And that is how you make this bean stitch pot holder. Once you weave all the ends in, it'll be completely finished. That's how easy it is to make this bean stitch pot holder. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And be sure to check out my channel for other pattern tutorials and stitch tutorials, and happy crocheting.